Hi guys, welcome back to the Library of Alexandria. And today guys, I will be reviewing Boosh, The Dispossessed by Ursula K. Le Guin. This is actually my first Ursula K. Le Guin book, and I know that many people like Ursula K. Le Guin. So this will not be my only Ursula K. Le Guin book before I pass judgment upon her writings and decide whether or not they're for me or not. I will, however, say that I don't like this book at all. So without wasting any more time,
let's get down to business.
Let's talk about the Dispossessed, which is part of the Hainish cycle, which is a race of aliens that, I don't know, shepherded humans to the stars or whatever. The humans are the Terrans. They're always the Terrans. So I read this with Joanna, or actually guys, let me go ahead and hashtag pro tip you here. If you want to buddy read a book with me, that's okay, but understand, I'm gonna read it slow. I just read slowly. I'm sorry. So if you want to buddy read with me, please be aware that I'm gonna read it slowly. And if you don't want to read it slowly, don't ask to buddy read it with me. That's fine. You don't have to read it with me. But if you want to read it with me, understand I'm super slow. I'm super slow. That's just how it's gonna be. But anyway, Joanna and I buddy read this, and she loved it. And I'm not surprised. There are many, many people who would love this. So please do not take my probably harsh criticism about this book as saying that this book is bad, because I'm not certain it is. Additionally, Joanna has a great video where she does talk about what she loved about The Dispossessed, so make sure you go check that out over there if you want to hear someone talk more about actually enjoying their book. And see what kind of, how the same book can work and have a different effect on two different readers. So go check that out. I do, however, know 100% for a fact that it is not for me at all. His book is filled with things that are not for me. In no way is this an Allen book, even though I do really like heavily thematic, character-focused, thoughtful works. I like a lot of those. Augustus, Long Price Quartet, things like that. This is not one of them. So, part of the problem is the back of the book. Now, don't go down in the comments, yeah, well, that's what you get for reading the back of the book. I never read back of the books. That's like Philip telling me he doesn't have a TV. I mean, good for you. I'm glad you don't have a TV. Congratulations. I'm glad you don't read the back of the book, guys. Good job. I always read the back of the book, okay? And most of the time, the back of the book doesn't spoil anything beyond the inciting incident that happens very early. Most of the time, and also is actually what the book is about. This one betrays me because the back of the book makes it sound so much cooler than it actually is. And that is what you must know going into this book, that this book is not nearly as cool as the back of the book makes it seem. So I'm going to read the back of the book to you and tell you where this book airs, because this is not, don't worry, there's nothing spoilery here, because this doesn't happen. This does not happen in the book. But I would have loved to read this book, but we did not get this book. Instead, maybe they swapped it. Maybe that's not what this is supposed to be. But anyway, a bleak moon settled by utopian anarchists, and Naris has long been isolated from other worlds, including its mother planet, Urus, a civilization of warring nations, great poverty, and immense wealth. That part is true. That sentence is true. Now, Shevik, a brilliant physicist, is determined to reunite the two planets, which have been divided by centuries of distrust. That is not true. That is not why he goes. He does not go to try to unite the planets. He will seek answers, question the unquestionable, and attempt to tear down the walls of hatred that have kept them apart. That is kind of true. He does question things he's not supposed to question. To visit Urus, to learn, to teach, to share, will require great sacrifices and risks, which Shevik willingly accepts. That is true, but misleading. But the ambitious scientist's gift is soon seen as a threat, and in the profound conflict that ensues, he must re-examine his beliefs even as he ignites the fires of change. No, not even a little bit. There is no profound conflict that ensues. I think, just rereading it, for the fourth time, I think what they're talking about, there is something that, happens, in the last 50 pages of the book. That's not soon. And it's also not profound. So that's not right. But it makes it sound like there's going to be this clash of ideologies, and it's going to be like this philosophical, political, like thriller where he's trying to, convince these people, unite the planets. What can he do? No. Shevik is one of the most passive freaking protagonists that I have ever read. So I'm just going to go ahead and start by saying that if you don't like books that are capital A about capital S something, you might not like this book. It's not that I don't like books that are about something. Like, I like deep thematic content. I do. The problem is I don't like the thematic content in this, and I don't like the way it was handled. Like, I'm fine with questioning the way society does things, and there's a little bit of this and a little bit of that on both sides. I'm fine with that. This is the most ham-fisted, it's like Plautia Urgalanilla wanders into your bedroom and just thumps you with her huge Truckosaurus fists with it. The second part is it's weird because there's a lot in here that I should like because of the fact that I like KJ Parker. There's a lot of similarities here, not the writing style, but a lot of similarities with what's happening. It's, a deeply thoughtful book about humanity and that kind of stuff, and it's very, very, there's a lot of technical specialization, like in Parker's books where it's the banking system or the economics or manufacturing or farming or whatever it is that I'll read pages and pages of. There's this, but it's math and physics, and I don't like math and physics. And I don't like manufacturing either, but at least that's interesting. I don't like abstract quantum theoretical physics or math, and there's pages and pages of it. And not my thing. But I understand that's why some people don't like Parker novels for the same reason. And also, unlikable protagonists is Parker's jam. But I like them, and I'm not sure if we're always supposed to root for them. I think Parker, off the bat, tells us that they're not great people. While here, and I think this is the key, Shevik is clearly the protagonist. Clearly. He's very obviously the protagonist, and we're supposed to like Shevik. I do not like Shevik. I hate Shevik. Shevik is we don't like Mary Sue's in books. He's a Gary Stu. He is, we're constantly told Shevik is the most, he's so brilliant. Oh, he's such a brilliant physicist. Oh, he's so handsome. Oh, all the girls like him. He's just the one that he's not like other protagonists. Annoying. And there is something indefensible about Shevik that occurs that it's just not defensible if your character's supposed to be the protagonist. If you're setting your character up as a protagonist that we're supposed to root for, no. And I can see, even Joanna has difficulty reconciling that particular thing. So Shevik, most of the book, he's just whining. He's just sitting there doing nothing, wondering, it's... So also understand that every other chapter in the book, all even number, I think it's like this. I don't know if they break it. I don't think they do. Each odd number chapter is happening in the present. Each even number chapter is a flashback to the past of him growing up on Anaris and, becoming a physicist on Anaris and his marriage and the decision to come here to Urus. And it doesn't tell you that. So a lot, I read the first, it was obvious the first time it does this because he's very, very small. But then the next time he does it, he's older, and we don't really understand what age Shevik is at the start. So the second time it did it, I got almost all the way through the chapter before I realized, oh, wait, this isn't happening now. This is happening in the past. And Shevik just waits around and he stands there for I have not seen a more immobile protagonist than Shevik. He just stands there for 90% of the book. Stands there being like, man, I wish I could study physics. Man, I want to study physics. Oh, man, physics. These people, I've got to go to these parties. I just want to study physics. Man, the people here are rich. They don't, back home, no one's rich. Oh, man, these freaking propertarians. And you have to hear the word propertarian over and over again. Because what you have to understand is that Anaris is the anarchist planet that is just a big hippie commune where everyone is poor and eats dirt and then Urus is this, hedonistic, capitalistic, everyone wealthy, very poor. It's Earth. It's freaking Earth is what it is. And there's just like most of the action is Shevik arguing with people. And the problem is that Shevik always comes off in the right. He always comes off as like being like, well, my idiot friend, you're not considering this point and this and he's insufferable. He's insufferable. So Shevik, 1 out of 10, would not read about his exploits again. Like I said, the thematic content isn't necessarily not good. I do like the fact that though it starts out as a huge, just like propaganda piece for the Anaris people, for the hippie commune, it does become a little more fair and balanced as Shevik realizes, like, hey, you know what, like, these people enjoy the arts and they enjoy their lives here, and everything's pretty. There's trees, everything's not just red dirt everywhere, and these people are passionate about things, which is not really the case on Anaris. And also the fact that human beings are human beings, and this is why Utopia doesn't work, is that human beings are always going to be human beings. If everyone would just do the right thing, Utopia's fine, and we could do it. But the problem is everyone's not always going to do the right thing, and there's always going to be hierarchy, and watching Shevik come to realize that, hey, even in my perfect utopian society, there's still hierarchy because we still have to listen to this, and there's still there's still petty people who stop people from being able to do things which they theoretically shouldn't be able to do because there's no hierarchy. And so I really like how that kind of comes out, especially his relationship with like his publisher or whatever, or the guy he has to work under studying physics. I like that. I like the duplicitousness of the Unarians, the Urasians, whatever. But most of the time, it's just dreadful sitting here watching him having these philosophical debates with literally nobody. A lot of the times, and I'm not a big like other world type person when I read sci-fi and fantasy. I like my worlds to be similar to, worlds that I am familiar with or that I know, just assuming that since it's written in English, I can just assume that person is not speaking English and has other words for things. Like, you can just write dad. Like if this word is just dad, like it's just dad figure, you can just do that, and I'll just assume that these aliens who don't speak English aren't saying dad. They're just saying their alien word. I'm always like unjustifiably irritated when I see them say, "Oh, it's Teddy." It's dad. Like, stop it. So that's not really my thing. And there are aliens, but they're people. It's just people. I mean, at least there's no ket. Really, you get away from the Milky Way, and the best you can do is people who kind of have rock qualities. The ket, really. Okay, all right, BioWare. Whatever you say. So the reason I didn't actually hate this book, I just say I don't like this book. The reason I didn't actually hate this book is because I do think at times it is well written, and as once I reached a little past the halfway point, it was interesting to read, and it did go slightly faster because we were doing a little more, maybe, or at least the philosophizing that we were happening was more interesting to me, or it was about things that I care about more. There's nothing wrong with Gwyn's writing style. It just dragged for me for the first half. It was not my thing, and I do think there's a lot here. I think LeGuin is a talented writer, and I think there is a lot here for people who are more into this kind of thing. I just am not. I can get behind a bunch of thumb twiddling and, navel gazing if I care about the people that are doing it. And here I did not. There is only one character that you can care about here, and that's Shevik. I mean, maybe you can make an argument for his wife, maybe, and I mean, I like her better than I like Shevik. But otherwise, there's not really any other characters in this. There are people with names, but there's not really any other characters in this. So I don't like Shevik, and I think much of your enjoyment of this is, are you behind Shevik? Now, if you have like proclivities in the I want a utopian hippie, like Pete would love this book because it's all about the utopian hippie communes versus the propertarians or the corpos. So Pete would love this book. So if you're already of like a bend like that, you would like it because it really is like, Anaris has it Anaris has it more right than Urus does, especially, considering some of the things that happen. And I mean, whatever. Like, I don't. My issue is not the desire for utopia, because like one of my favorite parts of Augustus by John Williams is Augustus talking about. No, we're never going to reach this utopic level of virtue, but we have to give people something to strive for. My issue is just like with vegans in real life. The Anarans are so self-smug. They're insufferable. Like, the way they talk about their society and how much better they are than you while they're sitting here like choked with red dust is just insufferable. Like, I would hate to hang around them because they're just so like like stop. I would not want to hang out with them at all. I would much rather hang out with, no, you know what? The people from Urus, equally douchey. They're just rich people douchey. These are, oh, well, I'm not rich, but I don't need to be because I grow my own zucchini. Like, it's that kind of stuff. And don't worry, don't come at me. My wife has her own garden, as she did before she got pregnant. And I'm certain she's going to go back to gardening afterwards. And I don't think she grows zucchini, though. So anyway, so there is a lot to recommend for this. There is a lot to recommend for this book if you enjoy those more cerebral novels, a novel that is more about ideas than character or action, because it is. I think this is a novel of ideas more than it is really even about Shevek, and it's certainly more about ideas than it is about plot or action. If you tend to gravitate more towards books that I really enjoy, I'm not certain that you would enjoy it. I'm not saying you could. I'm not saying you couldn't. Jake likes many books that I enjoy, and Jake really liked this book. So I don't. Both Joanna and Jake said they got emotional at it. I know where I'm supposed to get emotional at it, but it did nothing for me because I didn't care. And really, we all know that if you cannot care, if the author has not made you care, then, it doesn't matter. Any kind of emotional punch isn't going to have the desired effect. Out of 5 stars, I gave this 2 stars. And I know you're gasping. What? How on earth, Alan, could you possibly rate a book 2 stars? Well, 1, I didn't like this book, but it's not a 1-star book. Like, I didn't hate it, especially the back half. But also, what you're going to see this year is a harsher star rating system. Not that the 5-star strumpet is dead. I hope the 5-star strumpet is still alive and well. I'm hoping that I can still give a bunch of books 5 stars. But I have a new internal rating system try to be more internally consistent for myself. I'll explain that for another day. But so guys, thank you so much for watching. Have you read The Dispossessed? Do you completely disagree? If you've read The Dispossessed, here's the thing. If you've read The Dispossessed and you're watching this video, I guarantee you like The Dispossessed. I'm not sure anybody clicked on this wanting to hear me bash it, especially since it's, Ursula K. LeGuin, who is beloved in the SF community. So that's fine. You can disagree with me. I understand that. Tell me what you liked about this book. Like, what did you love so much about this book? If I'm going to tell you something that I liked, I do like, what did you specifically love about this book? So guys, thank you so much for watching. As always, information about my Patreon and Discord is down in the description. And remember, Sanderson delendus est. Thanks a lot, guys, and I'll see you next time.